This is why your ex doesn't miss you and what you can do to change that. Alright, let's be real here. Trying to win back an ex can feel like navigating a maze with no exit in sight. But here's the kicker. Most people go about it all wrong. They focus on making their ex miss them, thinking that's the key to reigniting the flame. But what if I told you that's not really what it's about? What if I told you there's a way to make your ex fall in love with you again without playing games, without being manipulative, and without driving yourself crazy in the process? Sound too good to be true? Well, stick with me because I'm about to break down exactly how you can make that happen. Spoiler alert, it's all about shifting your focus. Ready? Let's dive in. Stop being constantly available, seriously. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. If you're glued to your phone, waiting for their texts, refreshing their social media profiles, or worse yet, constantly trying to find exhibits to accidentally bump into them, you're doing it wrong. I know it's tough, but here's the truth. If you're always available, you're giving them no reason to miss you. Think about it, why would they miss something that's always there? You've got to give them space. And no, I'm not talking about playing hard to get or some kind of mind game. I'm talking about genuinely pulling back and letting them feel your absence. Now, this doesn't mean disappearing off the face of the earth. It's about finding that perfect balance between being present and respecting their space. Imagine you're like a shadow, always there, but never overwhelming. They should notice when you're not around, but they shouldn't feel suffocated when you are. How do you do that? Simple. Stop initiating contact all the time. Let them reach out first. When they do, keep the conversation light and positive. No need to dive into heavy topics or rehash old arguments. Show them that you're doing just fine without them, but don't rub it in their face. It's about being subtly confident, not cocky. Rediscover your own life. Here's a tough pill to swallow. Before you can make someone else fall in love with you again, you need to fall in love with your own life. Yeah, I know that sounds cliche, but hear me out. When a relationship ends, it's easy to lose yourself in the process. You forget what makes you happy, what excites you, what drives you. And that's a problem, because if you're not excited about your own life, why should anyone else be? This is where the real work begins. You need to get back in touch with who you are outside of the relationship. What were the things you used to love doing before you met your ex? What hobbies, passions, or interests did you have? Start doing those things again. And if you can't think of anything, now's the perfect time to explore new hobbies. Maybe you've always wanted to try painting, or maybe you've thought about joining a sports league. Whatever it is, dive in headfirst. The key here is to do these things for you, not to impress your ex, and this is where it gets interesting. When you're genuinely happy and fulfilled, that energy is contagious. People are drawn to those who are confident, passionate, and living life on their own terms. So go ahead, start that new project, sign up for that class, or take that trip you've been putting off. And if your ex happens to see you thriving, that's just a bonus. They'll start wondering, wait, why are they doing so well without me? Did I make a mistake? Trust me, they'll notice. Share your growth casually. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I'm working on myself, but how do I let my ex see this without being obvious? Great question. The trick is to be subtle about it. You don't want to come across as bragging or trying too hard. Instead, find natural, low-key ways to share your growth. For example, if you've picked up a new hobby, casually mention it in conversation. Oh, by the way, I started learning how to play guitar. It's been such a fun challenge. Or if you've made some changes in your life, like starting a new fitness routine or landing a promotion at work, bring it up organically. Maybe they ask how you've been and you respond with, I've been great. I've been hitting the gym more, and it's really boosted my energy. You're not doing this to make them jealous, you're just sharing what's new with you. The key is to be enthusiastic but not over the top. Let your excitement shine through naturally. Dive deep with meaningful conversations. This next part is where you can really make a difference, reconnecting on an emotional level. Forget about small talk. Seriously, no one ever fell in love over a conversation about the weather. If you want to rebuild that connection with your ex, you need to go deeper. And I'm not just talking about reminiscing over the good old days. I'm talking about having real, meaningful conversations that matter. Start by asking questions that go beyond the surface. Instead of the usual housework or what have you been up to, ask them about their dreams, their fears, or their goals for the future. What are they passionate about? What's been on their mind lately? And don't just ask, listen. Really listen, pay attention to what they're saying, and respond with empathy and interest. Show them that you care about what's going on in their life. But here's the kicker you need to open up to. Share your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences, especially those that reflect your growth. Maybe you've had some realizations about yourself since the breakup, or maybe you've started seeing things from a new perspective. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Vulnerability builds intimacy, and intimacy is what brings people closer together. By having these deeper conversations, you're slowly but surely rebuilding the emotional bridge that may have crumbled during the breakup. Understand the power of patience. Alright, let's get real for a moment. This whole process, it takes time. A lot of it. You can't rush your ex back into your arms, and you shouldn't want to. Relationships, especially those worth having, require patience. So, if you're expecting immediate results, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. Think of this like planting a garden. You've got to nurture it, water it, give it sunlight, and then wait. Some days it might feel like nothing's happening, but behind the scenes, roots are growing, stems are strengthening, and buds are preparing to bloom. Your efforts won't always show immediate results, but that doesn't mean they're not working. Just because your ex isn't texting you back right away or dropping hints that they miss you, doesn't mean the connection isn't growing. It's subtle, but it's there. So what should you do in the meantime? Keep living your life. Keep growing, exploring, and thriving. Maintain that delicate balance of being present but not pushy, and most importantly, keep the faith. If it's meant to be, it will be, just don't force it. Remember, this process is as much about you as it is about them. Whether or not they come back, you'll be better, stronger, and more in tune with what you truly want and need in a relationship. Let go of expectations, embrace the outcome. Here's the part no one really wants to talk about. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, things might not work out the way you hope. Maybe your ex has moved on, or maybe the relationship just wasn't meant to be. And while that's a tough pill to swallow, it's also an opportunity for growth. You see, letting go of the outcome doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. It means understanding that your happiness doesn't depend on whether or not you get back together with your ex. Instead, it depends on how much you've learned, how much you've grown, and how much you've embraced your own journey. By letting go of expectations, you free yourself from the pressure and anxiety that come with trying to control the situation. You allow yourself to be open to whatever happens, whether it's getting back together or moving on to something even better. And here's the ironic part: when you let go of the need to control the outcome, you often create the perfect conditions for it to happen naturally. Your ex will sense your confidence, your self-assurance, and your genuine happiness, and that's incredibly attractive. Stay true to yourself. At the end of the day, the most important thing you can do is stay true to yourself. Don't compromise your values, your goals, or your happiness just to win someone back. Remember, the right relationship is one where both people are growing, thriving, and supporting each other. If you have to bend over backward or pretend to be someone you're not to get your ex back, then maybe it's time to rethink whether this relationship is truly right for you. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself, not for them, but for you. When you're living authentically, when you're chasing your dreams and pursuing your passions, you'll naturally attract the right people into your life. And if your ex is meant to be one of those people, they'll come back on their own terms, drawn to the person you've become. But even if they don't, you'll have something even better: a deep sense of self-worth, self-love, and confidence that no one can take away from you. And trust me, that's worth more than any relationship. Wrap up, keep your head high, and your heart open. So there you have it, the blueprint to rekindling that connection with your ex. It's not about playing games, making them jealous, or manipulating them into missing you. It's about shifting your focus inward, rediscovering what makes you happy, and becoming the best version of yourself. And as you do that, you naturally create the conditions for love to flourish, whether it's with your ex or with someone new. Remember, life is a journey, and every experience, good or bad, teaches you something valuable. So keep your head high, stay true to yourself, and keep your heart open to whatever comes next. You've got this. So what's your story? Have you ever tried to get back with an ex? What worked and what didn't? I'd love to hear your experiences, so drop them in the comments below.